Welcome back. Let's read this.
Lycoming Engines. Lycoming Engines is a major American manufacturer of aircraft engines. With a factory in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, Lycoming produces a line of horizontally opposed, air-cooled, 4, 6 and 8-cylinder engines including the only FAA-certified aerobatic and helicopter piston engines on the market. The company has built more than 325,000 piston aircraft engines and powers more than half the world's general aviation fleet, both rotary and fixed wing. Lycoming has been a principal pioneer of turbine engines for medium and large helicopters, and has also produced engines for small jetliners and business jets. Lycoming is an operating division of AFCO Corporation, itself a subsidiary of Textron. History, edit. Sewing machines, bicycles and fashion, edit. Demarest Manufacturing Company machine. Lycoming dates its founding to 1845 by Madame Ellen Curtis Demarest. However, the early history of the company, especially prior to 1860, is unclear. Biographer Ishbel Ross notes that the marriage of Ellen Louise Curtis to William Jennings Demarest took place in 1858, somewhat later than the purported date of establishment of the company. A few years later in New York, between c. 1860 and 1887, the Demarests published fashion magazines and operated the Demarest Fashion and Sewing Machine Company, sometimes known as the Demarest Manufacturing Company. They produced Madame Demarest and Bartlett and Demarest sewing machines and sold Ellen Demarest's innovative paper patterns for dressmaking. During this period, Ellen Demarest patented several fashion accessories, while her husband patented improvements to sewing machines and an apparatus for the vulcanization of rubber. Around 1883, Garrett S. Schofield and Frank M. Schofield, advertising agents from New York, bought the Demarest brand and the sewing machine business. The Demarests retained the magazine business, and constructed a factory in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, in Lycoming County. At the urging of the newly established Williamsport Board of Trade, citizens invested $100,000 in the new manufacturing facility, which employed 250 people. The factory produced 50 to 60 sewing machines per day. With the development of the New York bicycle in 1891, designed by employee S.H. Ellis, the company diversified its product offerings. Until the early 1900s, the factory produced sewing machines, bicycles, typewriters, opera chairs and other products. Engine manufacture, edit. This section needs additional citations for verification. Please help improve this article by adding citations to reliable sources in this section. Unsourced material may be challenged and removed. December 2008, learn how and when to remove this template message. By 1907, the manufacture of sewing machines had become unprofitable for Demarest, and the company was sold and restructured as the Lycoming Foundry and Machine Company, shifting its focus toward automobile engine manufacture. In 1910, the company supplied its first automobile engine to Volkswagen, and during the early post-World War I era, the company was a major supplier to Auburn, which produced the Auburn, Cord, and Duesenberg lines. By 1920, Lycoming was producing 60,000 engines a year, with a 2,000 strong workforce. To handle the capacity, a new foundry complex was built in Williamsport that year. Eventually Lycoming became Auburn's principal supplier, and in 1927 Laurette Loban Cord bought the company, placing it under his Auburn Manufacturing umbrella group. Among the engines Lycoming produced for Cord was an L-head straight 8 engine of 298.5 cu. In displacement that produced 125 horsepower. This was used in the Cord L29. Lycoming also produced a double overhead cam straight 8 used in the legendary Duesenberg J series. This power plant produced 265 horsepower, 6 times the power of a contemporary modeler Ford. A supercharged version, generating 325 horsepower, was installed in the Duesenberg SJ and SSJ models. In 1929, Lycoming produced its first aviation engine, the 9-cylinder R680 radial. This was a fairly successful design, and was used widely in light aircraft, including Cord's Travel Air. In the 1930s, Lycoming made a number of attempts to develop successful high-power aircraft engines. The 1200 HP, 895 kilowatts, 1230 was Lycoming's attempt to produce an engine based on the United States Army Air Corps hyper-engine concept, and used a variety of features to produce nearly 1 HP /in, 46 kilowatt /L, of engine displacement. However, by the 1230's entry into service, it had been surpassed by other designs and the US $500,000 investment was not recouped. Another attempt was made to rescue the design by stacking two 1230s to make the two 300 HP, 1700 kilowatts, H engine H2470, but the only design to use it, the Volt XP54, never entered production. The Curtiss XF-14C was originally intended to be powered by the H2470, but the engine's poor performance led to the adoption of an alternative radial engine on the prototype. The XF-14C did not enter production. Undeterred by the 1230 /H2470's failure, Lycoming turned to an even larger design, the 36-cylinder XR7755, the largest aviation piston engine ever built. This design also experienced problems, and was only ready for use at the very end of World War II, when the aviation world was turning to turbojets and turboprop engines to power future large aircraft. There was apparently some interest in using it on the Convair B-36 Peacemaker bomber, but the 28-cylinder Pratt & Whitney R4360 Wasp Major 4-bank radial was used instead. Through the 1920s and -30s, Lycoming had still been supplying automotive manufacturers with engines. However, these clients each slowly went out of business or switched to Continental engines for their vehicles. By 1931, the company was supplying automotive engines to only 3 companies, Auburn, Cord and Duesenberg, still all under the control of Cord. These companies closed their doors in 1937, after which Lycoming switched to exclusively designing and producing engines for aviation. In the meantime, the Smith Engineering Corporation, an early manufacturer of controllable pitch propellers, had been purchased by Cord and moved to Williamsport. In 1939, Cord reorganized all of his aviation holdings into the UFCO Group, at which point the engine manufacturing company became UFCO Lycoming. It also leased the government-owned Stratford Army Engine Plant in Stratford, Connecticut, and produced Wright radials under license. After the war, this plant was converted to produce the T-53 turboshaft engine, one of its more successful designs. From this point on, the piston and turbine engine lines remained separate, with the piston lines being built in the original Williamsport factories, and turbines in Stratford. By 1961, Lycoming produced 600 to 700 engines per month. Its most successful post-war products were a series of air-cooled Flat 4 and Flat 6 general aviation engines. Most famous among these are the O320 and O360 four-cylinder engines, and the O546 cylinder engine. Many light aircraft are powered by versions of these engines, with power ratings in the 100-360 HP, 75-70 kW range. Engines in this series also include the O235-4, O586 and O728 cylinder engines, and the advanced turbocharged and fuel-injected 450 HP, 340 kW, TIG 541 variant of the venerable, carburetted, O540. In the early 1980s, the general aviation market suddenly diminished and Lycoming's piston engine business was significantly impacted. Attempts were made to move some of the turbine production to Williamsport, but this led to a series of quality control problems and eventually it was abandoned. Another attempt to rescue Williamsport was made in introducing the Radical Score engine, a Wankel engine originally developed through a joint venture between Curtiss-Wright and John Deere. Curtiss-Wright lost interest in the design just as it was maturing and sold its interests in the project to Deere, which brought in Lycoming to sell the developed engine into the aviation markets. It was guaranteed a start-up run by Cessna, also owned by Textron. Just as production was ready to start, Cessna announced it was halting its small aircraft business for an indefinite period, and Score was cancelled. The remains of the Deere licenses were later purchased by Rotary Power International, which briefly produced a 340 HP, 254 kilowatts version. Textron purchased the company in 1985. In 1994, Textron sold the Lycoming turbine engine division, located in Stratford, Connecticut, to Allied Signal, who merged it with the Garrett engine division of Allied Signal as part of Allied Signal Aerospace, later becoming part of Honeywell Aerospace in 1999. Textron retained piston engine production in Williamsport. Lycomings continue to power new light aircraft by fellow Textron division, Cessna Aircraft, and by Piper, Cirrus, Diamond, and others. Lycomings remain the most popular line of engines for U.S. experimental /amateur-built, E/AB, aircraft, surpassing the 5 next most popular brands, combined. Products, edit. The aircraft piston engine prefixes are 1A. Aerobatic, dry sump. 2A. Aerobatic, wet sump. 3E. Electronic. 4G. Beard, reduction gear. 5H. Helicopter. 6I. Fuel injected. 7L. Left-hand rotation crankshaft. 8M. Designed for unmanned drone. 9O. Opposed cylinders. 10R. Radial cylinders. 11S. Supercharged. 12T. Turbocharged. 13V. Vertical installation, usually for helicopters. 14X. X-type engine. 15Y. Experimental. Piston engines, edit. Model name configuration power. Lycoming Del 120 205 HP. Lycoming O145 0455 HP. Lycoming IO 233 04 100 HP. Lycoming O235 04 100 HP. Lycoming O290 04 140 HP. Lycoming O320 04 150 HP. Lycoming O340 04 170 HP. Lycoming O360 04 180 HP. Lycoming IO 360 04 200 HP. Lycoming IO 390 04 210 HP. Lycoming 043506 212 HP. Lycoming 048006 340 HP. Lycoming 54006 300 HP. Lycoming TI 54106 310 HP. Lycoming IO 58006 300 HP. Lycoming GSO 58008 400 HP. Lycoming R680R9 330 HP. Lycoming IO 72008 400 HP. Lycoming 01230 012 1000 HP. Lycoming H2470 H24 2300 HP. Lycoming XR 7755 IR 36 5000 HP. Turbine engines, edit. Lycoming was one of the principal pioneers of turbine engines, turbo shaft to be precise, for medium and heavy lift helicopters, some of which have found other applications as well. Its 1,400 horsepower, 1,000 kilowatts, T53 hybrid free turbine forward/shaft turbine engine initially powered the Bella 1 Huey, and Lycoming's 4,000 horsepower, 3,000 kilowatts, T55 is the main power for the twin turbine, twin-rotor Boeing CH-47 Chinook. Lycoming turbines have powered other helicopters, also. Variants and derivatives have powered various turboprop and turbofan aircraft, as well, including the F-1 Mohawk military aircraft, BAE 146 jetliner, Canadair Challenger business jet, and others. Model name configuration power. Lycoming T53 turbo shaft 1451 HP. Lycoming T55 turbo shaft 4867 HP. Lycoming PLF-1. Lycoming LTS-101/LPT-101 turbo shaft /turboprop 675 HP. Lycoming ELF 502 turbofan 6700 lbf. Lycoming AGT 1500 gas turbine 1500 HP. Lycoming TF40 gas turbine 4000 HP. See also, edit. 1 Continental Motors, Incorporated. 2 Rotax. 3 Veri